Now to Libya, where Colonel Gaddafi's forces are continuing to retake towns held by rebel fighters, pushing the insurgents back towards the city of Benghazi. And human rights groups are warning Libyan authorities have arrested hundreds of political prisoners in the capital, Tripoli. ABC correspondent Tim Palmer reports from Benghazi.
Across the Sirte desert, the retreat is increasingly desperate. In Bin Jawad, Gaddafi's forces celebrate, and each day the list of villages and towns reclaimed by government troops grow longer.
Zawiya is free, Ras Lanuf is free, El Egala is free, Bisha is free, and Brega, which is an oil city that was a target by these gangs, has also been liberated. And Al Sadr, also an oil city next to Ras Lanuf, has been liberated.
Losing Brega and its oil refinery has reduced the rebels' access to fuel. The insurgents are now falling back towards Ashdabia, the last major town before Benghazi, the rebel stronghold and the country's second largest city. Gaddafi's army can now sense victory. It's talking down the need for a major offensive to take Benghazi.
They do not deserve a big offensive. They are a bunch of rats and cats. When we, the people's armed forces, enter, they raise their hands and the civilians agree they are not really big groups.
But in Benghazi, the rebels remain defiant. They say they're equipped to fight the government forces and they've held back their most organised military units. Libyan opposition leaders are continuing to push for the international community to impose a no-fly zone. Meanwhile, a United Nations delegation is again seeking urgent assurances about the safety of civilians, especially in towns like Zawiya and Misrata, cut off for weeks. Human rights groups have reported a wave of arbitrary arrests and disappearances in the capital, Tripoli, and as a result, demonstrations have been snuffed out there.
Main concern is to find out what is going on, which we don't know. United Nations left the country at the end of February when it became unsafe. There are reports about violence, there are other reports, but we really wanted to find evidence and base our response in accordance with the evidence we have.
There's a growing fear here that any final international consensus on a no-fly zone may come too late now and may, in any case, be ineffective, given Colonel Gaddafi's obvious demonstrated superiority with his ground and naval forces acting alone. Those forces are now pressing towards key road junctions that would give them the option of racing across the desert south of Benghazi, cutting this city off between here and Tobruk and setting the scene for the biggest siege and potentially the biggest battle of them all. Tim Palmer, Late Line.